Okay, so all of this sounds great, right? But it sounds as though this is almost like a learning that one will have in place after after their site has had an issue. Now, let's
Yeah.
say going back to the head of digital example. So the person now has an SEO in place. They also have had the SEO told them they need more support, so they have a consultant or an agency helping the SEO. And now
Okay.
they have to provide a certain level of training or SEO awareness or evangelism to several departments outside of the SEO. This is a big ask from the business. And the head of digital is looking at this and saying, how am I going to go ahead and actually get this buy-in? Because we don't have an issue on the site yet. My question, let me get to it, is what can a head of digital do to get the business to buy into SEO training before there is an issue within the business from an SEO point of view? So, i.e., they've lost their traffic.
Yeah. So before something goes wrong, how do we start improving things? Being
Yeah,
positive rather than reacting to a crisis.
yeah,
Yeah. So what you've got to do is you've got to find your kind of fellow evangelists within the business. There's not going to be, it might not be that many, but there's going to be something. So if you're being asked to do this, that means somebody higher up than you thinks it's important. So you look to them for support and their kind of, push on what you're trying to do. It might be that one person in the IT team you've already been speaking to about SEO and they get it and understand it. So you speak to them and say, right, how would we go about with there's another 5 members of the IT team. How do we go about showing them that what we want to do here is really valuable and make it so that, again, I'm helping them? It's about, for me, doing that. It's getting a you want to build this initiative of SEO becoming a really important thing. Well, you're going to get somebody high up to push that through so everyone responds to that. But
yeah,
then maybe just before you start it, you start using SEO to help other people. If you can go to the IT team and say, hey, if we could share the log files, then I can look through there and show you how many 404s Googlebot's hitting. And seeing as our CMS, we pay per page impression, I could reduce our page impression costs by showing you how many pointless pages are being served up and we can reduce them. And that makes them look good. So let's solve a problem for them. I can go to the product team and say, I've got a list here of all the product pages that are old products that we've still got live, but we haven't had in stock. Let me run through them with you and we can find all the ones that are never coming back and we can retire them, and either change the template to show alternatives or we can redirect them or whatever it might be. So that focus attention goes back on those. I can help those people out. Maybe the people in the merchandising team, again, I can help them and go, oh, I've found that with our template for our our category pages, our PLPs, our product listing pages, there's several immediate improvements we can make. And I could spend a day just going through and manually making them. So you approve them with me. And those pages suddenly get a bit more traffic and they're bought into SEO all of a sudden.
yeah,
That's where SEO is really cool because, again, if you're in that kind of business that's relying on this, you can help solve things. So rather than coming in, like I'm guilty of doing this, coming in and going, fix this, that's rubbish. You do better. Don't do that. Come in and actually, because we're speaking as an in-house person now, go, okay, I want to get buy-in from as many different departments as possible on this. I need their help to do these things. Let's show them that this can be a positive, and it doesn't have to be this nagging thing of I'll do my job and then SEO it after. It's not like an extra layer of things to do. This is something that actually, if they think, they won't even have to think about it as an extra bit. It's just going to help them do their stuff if we can bake it in, I'll use that expression again, into what they do. Now, that can be tricky, but show them some wins. And then when the higher up person who's hired you and said, I need SEO to improve, gives you the go ahead to then go, right, we are going to have a series of training sessions on SEO and you, one for each team, explaining how I'm going to now work with you more closely to do these things. There might be less resistance. I think I basically do a selling job, be a marketer for this channel for your marketing. That's a bit meta, but there we go.
I love it. Absolutely love it. If brands only look at SEO outside of just a channel, there is so much that it can do. Even looking at metrics, for example, SEO metrics, rankings, traffic, conversions. There is a lot more metrics than that. I mean, that's just external metrics, not considering the internal metrics. For example, the implementation time, something I spoke about at some point last year. Implementation is a big area for SEO. Without implementation, there is no wins in the SERPs. So how long does it take to have recommendations implemented? That is something that ideally can be tracked internally. It doesn't have to be an external metric that we see with different tools. It can be something that's looked into in-house. And just expanding one's thought about SEO puts SEO very much focused within the business itself. So it's not just SEO as a channel, it's SEO, like Eli said, it's as a product, right? You got to start thinking of SEO in terms of what it can do for several things. So this whole idea of SEO taking 6 months to show results is not true. SEO is forever.
Yeah, no, it can be quicker. Not necessarily in terms of like going, I'm getting these mass ranking improvements, but just a couple of things that you said there, I really agree with. Like, so first of all, if you actually go, well, hang on, let's just pick a really random example. Our main product listing page for coats and jackets doesn't mention coats and jackets in the title tag or on the H1 properly, or these things like that, or you identify, we've got a coats page but not a jackets page, but we sell coats and jackets, we'll create a jackets page. And that can actually start ranking as extra immediately. Improving coats might take a while, but actually having a page on this other subject you're not targeting at all, creating, hitting new subjects, that can be done relatively quickly. And it's really interesting about, sort of fitting things into how long things take. So you've got to work within the format that already exists. If you're working with a website and they run 4 weekly sprints for releases for the website, then you've got to identify some jobs that can fit in, how much capacity you've got in each sprint that you can work with them to do that, and then fit in your improvements that go within that and go in there. Don't try and come in and go, oh, I've got this massive SEO technical audit I've done, fix all of them now. You've got to go, right, I've identified these things. Which of them are easy fixes? Let's get the first ones into this first sprint, get them ticked off, and you get that momentum. And you, again, fit in with how they work. Don't try and make them work to how you dance to your tune. There's a great SEO blog and newsletter called the SEO Sprint by Adam Gent. That basically talks about exactly that, about making SEO fit into this kind of release model, which most big websites work around. So if that's something that interests anyone listening to this, I do recommend checking it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out myself. Sounds interesting. Just taking a note of it.
It's great.
SEO
It's great. Adam's great at this stuff. Yeah, the SEO Sprint. Yeah, it's really cool.
AI generated content. What are your, let's say, general thoughts around AI content?
So, AI content, look, it's here. That's the first thing. This idea of you see some people railing against it. It's here. It's happening. I think if you go onto YouTube now, and if you look at any kind of thing around making money or anything like that, all the people that used to be talking about how to make money on cryptocurrency or NFTs or things like that, and all telling everyone how to make money on creating AI content. It's it's going to be the latest thing. There's going to be reams of crap created, and more crap content than ever before, because lots of people are going to just create this content and assume it's going to rank and assume it's going to do well and so on. But to be honest, and I'm sure you've seen this in your time, is that I think for the last 5 years at least, there's been reams of crap content created anyway. It might have been human written, but it's been cheaply written, it's been put out there. It's not written by experts, it's very generic, it doesn't actually say anything of interest. And this is why, when you do things now, one of the biggest changes we've seen with perhaps Google's behavior around this stuff is that it used to be that Google would index everything that was technically correct on your website, and it would let the ranking part of the algorithm sort it out. It just wouldn't show the rubbish. It would just only show the good stuff. But now you go into Search Console with a site with any kind of weak content, The indexing part of the algorithm, the indexer, is much more judicious. It now only indexes what it thinks is actually worthwhile. They index a lot lower percentage, even on good websites generally. So the actual results of all this AI content is going to be the same. The people who use it well and use it to generate a baseline or to generate ideas, to do really good things, and then human edit it, get experts to come in and do it, and so on, are producing the top level stuff. It's just going to be another tool in their toolkit for them to produce that great content. They might allow them to scale up a little bit and so on. If you're producing rubbish with it, or just not even rubbish, but just grammatically correct, vaguely on topic stuff, it might not get indexed, and it certainly isn't going to rank because other people are going to do a job. There's very few niches available where great content isn't already being targeted by a certain percentage of people working in that sector.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be, it's a useful tool, it's cool, and you can do some good stuff, but it's not going to suddenly mean that AI content is going to dominate more than anything else, because the indexing and ranking haven't changed. It's just how we're producing it that's changed. Yeah. Now, of course, there's a lot of people who argue that at the moment Google's not ranking particularly good content all the time anyway. I'm not going to get into that one. That's different. But I think there are uses. Aleda Solis did a really great article just after ChatGPT came out, where she did an article, I think it was like 20 uses of ChatGPT for SEO. And it was actually really good stuff. It was like taking things like a subject and a question within it and generating more questions on the back of it. You know, what are similar questions people ask to this? Or putting in a list of 50 keywords and saying, grouping these by intent, going back to our intent conversation. That wasn't perfect, but it gave you a starting point. So the actual uses of this to start doing smart things in our day-to-day SEO work are high. But again, to your question about SEO content, there's going to be loads of AI content. I'm not necessarily going to like it myself. A lot of it's going to be poor. A lot of it's going to be people being lazy, but they were taking the shortcuts anyway. So, you know, if you're on a website trying to produce good content, you've got to hope Google's going to keep on identifying it, and you've got to keep on doing the good stuff you're doing. But now you might have an extra way of helping you go about it.